with that said, we will get into the DC Comics solicitations for October 2020. Lots of interesting stuff in here. Some bits of news sprinkled throughout, and some speculation I would maybe get to later once we've brought up some of these stories. So, first things first, the order. This is just the order they're in the Newsarama article. For anyone following along,
just the quote-unquote official order that DC gives them to them, I think.
Yeah. Well, for a while it was alphabetical, barring one or two big things at the start, whereas they seem to be a bit more grouped this time. I was noticing it as I was going through.
Yeah, I noticed when I scrolled the other day, like once you get to like the Action Comics and Superman stuff, they're buried below a bunch of random trades in the middle. Yeah,
it's a weird order, but Batman issue 100 and also issue 101, they're not like doing like a just one issue thing. As expected, issue 100's oversized issue, $7, 56 pages. Is the end of Joker War. Tynan's still in the book afterwards, which we knew at this point anyway, but worth mentioning and reiterating here, since we're actually at that point. The cover for issue 100 has a funky new Batsuit.
Yeah, I know Tynan was tweeting about this the other day. I believe he said it was already introduced in his run somewhere.
In the Utopian vision that Alfred had.
Yes, the same suit from the sequence previewed in Batman 96, which we haven't had yet, right? Or we just had 96.
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
But he says it's a suit designed by Alfred before his death for a utopian Gotham.
Right.
Okay. Admittedly, I can see this being something he wears for one thing and then, never wears it again.
When your whole thing is to hide in the shadows, having metallic blue.
Oh, that's
maybe not the.
Well,
this is not a stealth suit.
It's for a utopian Gotham where he's not actually really needed anymore in the same way.
Right. So it should just be Bruce Wayne. But now we're just splitting hairs, I guess.
I just want to find something wrong with it because it's a Batman thing.
Oh no, I don't like the look of it. I mean
that's fair.
Like, it's fine. I don't like the colors.
Joey's giving me vibes. It's giving me vibes of the suits at the end of Batman and Robin with all the silver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ice suits. It feels like an action figure Batman.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah. It feels like when the movie comes out, you get the regular one, and then they want to sell like 10 more toys. So there's like, this is this type of Batman and this type of, even though most of them were never in the movie. That's what this feels like. It feels like one of the weird knockoff ones.
It might be better in context.
Maybe.
I trust in Tynan. I'm just first, snap judgment is that's kind of an ugly looking suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The main art on this issue is Jorge Jimenez. There are backup stories though, which I assume are still part of the run in the sense that they're not just like random side stories.
Well,
but
they're all Tynan at least. I think my only disappointment with the fact that there are backups is that end of Joker War, you got a huge oversized issue. Would have been nice to just be a huge oversized climax to that
I mean, I
story.
assume the backups are all sort of epilogues to maybe specific characters from,
Yeah.
It says after the senses-shattering conclusion of the Joker War come a pair of short stories that will chart what's to come in Gotham City and Batman.
Oh, so
Don't miss the first showdown between Batman and Clown Hunter.
So they're teases for the next stuff then?
Yes.
Well, I mean, fair enough. Same kind of difference, really. Batman 101, of course, continues on. Unfortunately, Gillian March is the artist on that book again.
Yeah.
Also, I just checked, and last Batman was 94.
So we've not had it yet.
So he said the previews of Batman 96. So I guess it shows up in the preview pages already that are out there, because the previews tend to come out a good month before the issue.
Yeah. Detective Comics 1028 and then Detective Comics 1029. It is worth mentioning, by the way, there's a lot of the books have Wonder Woman 1984 variants, although I question if those are going to be that relevant in October.
Well, I think they've already shifted these variants. I think these variants are all done. I think they did have them scheduled to come out already, but when the movie got delayed, they delayed the covers. I'm sure they'll just do that again.
Well, I'm not convinced October's that lately at this point, so we'll see.
Either. Also, it's really annoying how Detective Comics has great artists right now. Like this this one, Nicholas Scott and Kenneth Rocafort is the two issues, and I'm like, God damn it.
I've been really tempted to sort of catch up on Detective, not because I expect it to be necessarily great, but as a a fun enough B book, it might be okay once it's past that arc that I really didn't like the ending of. I don't know.
I think the problem is right now Batman is playing kind of like a B book. Not in that it's bad, but in that the style of story it's telling is kind of hitting those same beats.
But like you say, the art is at least in theory. I've not seen the art itself, but the people have got on it.
Willing to assume that they're doing their usual standard.
Yeah. So also there's one of the masks on that Detective Comics 1029 cover is basically a bat version of a Wolverine mask.
Yeah.
Give me a
The
chuckle.
one on our right.
I see
Yeah.
it. I can only
Under the red
assume
hood.
that's supposed to be Duke's, given the color scheme.
Yeah, it's probably a Duke mask of some kind, yeah, but it looks very Wolverine. Even to the point where it kind of has a mask, like sort of representation of the sideburns.
Whose is the not booster gold just on the left?
Harper Row, I don't know.
I mean, it could
I
be.
don't know.
Oh.
It looks familiar though. Like I definitely.
Oh, I know. It's Black Lightning.
It is, you're
Yeah,
right. That's
there you
Black
go.
Lightning. Yeah, because you
Who's the cowly? The red cowly one.
red.
To the left of that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good question.
It almost
yeah.
looks like Batwoman in a lot of ways. but
No,
I don't think it is.
Batwoman's above Batman.
Yeah.
And Robin's
then
above her.
you have Cass's right above that. So I don't know whose that is.
I don't know. It looks like there's definitely a non-Bat character that I'm thinking of that has a mask like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
It
Well,
could be
it's
a
a
non-Bat
Hawk.
character.
Yeah.
Hawk.
Because we've got
Hawk's
Tanner
mask
over there.
was like that, but I don't think that would be here.
nah.
You know.
Regardless. It takes out a Batgirl, which is the first of the ones of the story. I'm going to save my speculation until we get to all three of these. But just to mention here, of course, that this is the final issue of this run, and that is ending Batgirl with issue 50. It's an oversized issue, $6, 48 pages. It's still Cecil Castellucci. There's a few different artists on it. It's kind of sad that Supergirl kind of wound down and then get killed off. Or not, I mean, not literally killed off, but the book get killed off.
Yeah.
And then Batgirl, just a couple months later, is essentially doing the same thing, where this last little run's been kind of just...
I will be shocked if Batgirl doesn't get a relaunch. I think she's far too popular a character.
Well, yeah,
I think given... even before we get to the actual speculation, just on Batgirl specifically, given that we had that tease coming in the Tynan... In the one-shot, I think it was the Dark Knight's one-shot. Maybe we're getting someone else as Batgirl, which is a good reason to renumber.
That is possible. I even suspect the Supergirl might be back before too long, but I want to save the speculation till later, because it all kind of ties together. Yes?
Can we talk about this Middleton cover?
It's nice.
It's gorgeous.
Is this what it's going to look like with the sketch drawings and then the...
I think so, but just Batgirl finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks so cool. Like,
Yeah.
I might pick this up physical just for that
There's
cover.
a Middleton variant on I think it's on Wonder Woman. It's a Wonder Woman cover. I don't know if it's for 84 or if it's just on the Wonder Woman book itself.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. Like one of his best covers ever. If it's on Wonder Woman later on, check when we get down there.
Yes.
So good.
So, moving on then, we have Catwoman 26, which is still going strong for now. So, cool.
Well, it's only just changed its writer in the scheme of the Solicits, so I would expect at least a few months more. Yeah.
Any vision cover on that one, Connor? You can get a look at that.
Yeah.
I already did.
We have an oversized issue of Nightwing for issue 75, which they are flat out saying Nightwing is back. He's in his blue suit. Jurgens was hyping up on Twitter, which is cool and all. I think the problem with this, though, is that despite the fact that this is the big Nightwing is back issue, which makes it mild tempting to read, it's still a continuation of the run that was going on. So, like, how much of the plot is going to feed into like where he was just before he came back? And
I feel like I need a new writer to jump on with at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that I dislike Jurgens. I mean, that's not really the problem.
But I don't
here.
really want to read the previous 20-odd issues or whatever it's going to be at that point.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. So one of the big new books actually this week, a 12-issue series, a Tom King 12-issue series, which has kind of become his speciality, with Jorge Fornes on the art, and this is a Rorschach 12-issue series with a phenomenal cover, might I add. I love the old book cover that they've got going here, the style. So.
Yeah.
My opinion on this is kind of layered. On the one hand, I don't necessarily want them to keep doing Watchmen things right now. We've only just had Doomsday Clock. We've had a TV show. Like I could do with them staying away from Watchmen characters for a while. That said, though,
the state of the real world is kind of scary for similarities to Watchmen, and I kind of don't want to participate.
Sure. That said, though,
comics version.
This is exactly the type of thing that Tom King is good at, is these 12-issue series on characters like this. So, I mean, this is going to be good. And
I'm kind of feeling like I really don't care for more Watchmen right now. And I'm not going to be excited, even despite the team, because I like both of these, people on it. All three, actually, because Dave Stewart's doing the colors. I think he's a great colorist. But it's hard to get excited. But once the issue's in my hand and I'm reading it, I'll probably still enjoy it. I'll be honest. I'm not going to lie about that.
There's been a lot of talk about Rorschach lately, and about how Alan Moore created him to be what he imagined Batman to be like for real. And it's not a glorious character. And to me, it kind of ruins the character of Rorschach. Granted, I haven't read Watchmen in like 10 years, so there's probably a lot that
it's worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning here at this juncture, though, with Matt bringing that up, is that the Solicits actually implying that there's a mystery as to who actually is wearing the mask. It's not just this is the Rorschach from the book. You know?
Honestly, I assumed it was from
the new one,
Doomsday Clock, if anything.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, with them doing this with Rorschach, and he's such a complex character and whatnot, like, it's just funny that came out, and then like I read that story via Twitter, and then this comes out this week. This news.
Yeah, I just was noting that Tom King has been teasing that this series. I think it was this one that he was teasing about a few months ago is done. All of the pages are drawn.
Yeah.
Everything is completed on this entire book.
Yeah, he's been teasing a Watchmen project at some point, but also, just to add back onto the premise of this book, is that I don't think it is the one from Doomsday Clock, because this is set 35 years after the original story, and Doomsday Clock was only set a handful of years later. So this is actually
in the 90s.
This is more like the TV show in that it's a sequel that's set in present day. So I think I kind of like that, in the sense that I like that if we're going to do a Rorschach thing, it's not either the original or the Doomsday Clock one. It's again someone else wearing that mask, and this maybe is something to explore.
What I do like as well is there's no reason that it's not the same universe still, right? Because obviously in Doomsday Clock, it took the characters from, like, say, a handful of years later, but that world still continues on its own trajectory.
It could be a part of that, or it might not be. I think I'm not too fussed either way. I think what I like about this potentially is that, much like Doomsday Clock and the TV show, it's just an optional sequel, and if you go into it with that sort of mindset where this is just set further down the line, and both of those ended up being great sequels to Watchmen in different ways. Connor's making faces. What did you not like?
He didn't like the show as much as we did.
The TV show lost me towards the end.
What? Episode 8 was the best episode. How are you? You're
in a vacuum, I think that episode is fantastic, but I don't think it delivered on the promise of the show overall. Like, the first 3 episodes really set up what the arc of the show was, and then by the end, it was like, here's Manhattan and Watchmen and stuff, and I'm like, this isn't really what the show was.
No, I felt like it earned it. It did the Damon Lindelof thing where it got in the weeds a little bit too much, and I kind of forgot what they were going for, and then it picks it all back up at the end.
Like, individually, all the episodes are fantastic. Every single one, even the last ones where I was feeling this, but the back half of the season, I felt like it got really hyper focused too much and kind of lost track of the overall narrative for me.
For anyone listening, I disagree with Carter thoroughly and recommend you check the show out for yourself.
As do I. The generational struggle there is really, really good. That's, I think, what it nails. But Jeremy Irons, his character.
Oh, he's great.
I'll say no more. Holy, next level.
All the performances are fantastic.
While that show was airing, like, every week I was going, Miss Crookshanks! Miss Crookshanks! Loved it. All right, so Rorschach, I'm actually really optimistic. I didn't necessarily want more Watchmen stuff, but I mean, if we're going to do it, then a Black Label Tom King 12-issue series with a good artist is pretty much.
It has no bearing on continuity, which usually Tom King is great at.
Yeah.
You know.
So next up, we actually have another White Knight book. Batman White Knight Presents Harlequin, issue 1 of 6. Although not written by Murphy. Murphy is doing the art with Katana Collins, who is writing the book.
Which I think is his wife.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. He married someone named Katana. I mean, maybe it's just a pen name, but still, that's what it is.
If not, rad.
Yeah. So our Black Label book, obviously, 6 issues, focusing on the Harley. The cover has her holding the two babies, the 2 kids.
Yep.
Yeah. And just on this, there's an extra little bit of news that I'm just going to throw in here to go with it.
Sure.
The Harley Batman digital first, Harley black and white and red.
Yeah.
The July 31st issue is actually like a prequel to this book, in that it's doing
which is kind of
Harley issue tied into this.
It's a lot like how that first one was that's a little tie into Harleen.
Sejik's stuff. Yeah, this is in the same vein, but instead of being a sequel to a book, it's the prequel.
I mean, it's neat enough for what it is. So I mean, it's interesting they're doing a book with a different writer, even though it's one that's still closely connected, and they're focusing on a different character. Because up until now, it's just been White Knight central with maybe like a one shot we had, I think, of the free stuff, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Black Label books, we got an interesting one announced. Something that Scott Snyder's been teasing or promising, I should say. He's been pleading and promising for us to believe him that it's coming back someday. And maybe the wise thing here is to treat it a bit more like Hellboy and just say this is a miniseries rather than an ongoing again. Is we have American Vampire 1976. Scott Snyder with Raphael Albuquerque. It's a 9-issue book, and it's coming back in October. Perfect for Halloween season, I suppose, so I can't really fault the timing.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to have to read Second Cycle before this comes out now.
Sure, yeah.
Worth noting that Snyder has said this is the ending of American Vampire.
That's cool.
This is, at least for now, what he's got planned. This is the end of the story.
I got to this in the Solicits and I thought, we did do Hill House books, and I was like, no, do we cover this on the show, or do I want to like read it and cover it on the show?
Yeah.
And I think I do, which is weird because obviously I'm working through the original book via Patreon right now. I do have like maybe an arc or two of Second Cycle to read to be caught up, because I had read the first arc of it, I'm sure, when it came out.
I read the first 4 issues and then kind of fell off because it wasn't up. You could tell that it took the backseat to whatever Snyder else was working on. It was kind of disappointing.
The schedule was kind of hit and miss.
Hit or miss.
Yeah.
But I have all the other trades. Those are the only ones I have in single. So I should pick up the trade when I go to the shop.
Yes, and there's so many books ending that I think this is fine to see. Because I mean, even before we even get to the cancellations, we mentioned one obviously in this Solicits, but obviously most of the Hill House books are done now. We got one left that we're covering, and other things have been wrapping up. So we're definitely seeing kind of a loosening more in that when we get to the Solicits, because when we get to speculation that I want to get into. Just
in general, by the time I skimmed through these Solicits the other day, I was like, at the end, I was like, wait, is that it? It felt really light.
There's only, because I mapped out what was coming out each week just for the schedule. And there's only the week 4 is actually kind of a big week. The rest of them are all kind of medium at most in terms of book count. So I just see that's a couple of big ones here, because we mentioned these last week when they were announced, which is DC The Doomed and the Damned, which is your 80-page one shot with stories by a bunch of different people, horror focused stories. And then of course the other one being the Swamp Thing, Legend of the Swamp Thing, Halloween Spectacular issue 1, which is a 48-page, so more annual sized, but also a collection of short stories. Again, great creative teams on that one. So I'm just skimming through those because we mentioned them a lot last week. And then Batman 3 Jokers issue 3, Jeff John, Jason Fabok, with a lot of variant covers by Fabok.
All of them, art and cover by Jason Fabok, variant cover by Jason Fabok, 1-25 variant by Fabok, 1-100 by Fabok, Premium G by Fabok, Premium H by Fabok, Premium I by Fabok.
Yeah, I've seen an interesting this new tactic they're doing with these covers. They're sort of testing it out on 3 Jokers, which is they've got their 1-25 and 1-100 variants, but they're doing this thing where with these premium variant covers where it's not just that you get 1 for 50 copies. If you order 50 copies, you're then allowed to order as many of this variant as you want. I think that's how it's working. So for stores that sell a lot of Bat books, which a lot do, then they're eligible for this.
And Batman is one of the, in general, one of the biggest selling characters and books. So this will probably sell quite well for most stores.
Back when it was okay to go and hang out in the comic shops, right? There would be guys that would just show up just to buy Batman whenever the new thing came out.
Honestly, does not surprise me in the slightest.
So them doing this, I see these being really successful.
Yeah. And I believe, I don't know if it's just for like each issue or if you have to do it for all 3 issues, but if you get if a store gets all of the premium covers, which would mean so in this case there's 3 of them, so this would be 150 copies at least they're buying to get the 3 of them. If you get all the premium covers, I think across all 3 issues, so like 9 total, there's like a super like variant which you get for having all of those, which I assume is going to cost a fortune for resale value.
That's the 150 copies sounds like a lot, because obviously, but for most stores, with Batman specifically, I don't think that's actually necessarily that much more than their regular orders.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, so obviously stores vary. Some stores are a bit more Marvel, focused with their customers.
Yeah.
But
so if you get that though, then you also get the 125.
Yeah.
You get X amount of those. You get the, at least the 100.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like, I don't know if you guys had to do like fundraisers in school, but like you sell this much, you go to this level, and then you go to this level.
Sure.
And you get everything from up there. That's how I feel their formatting is.
Exactly how our Patreon works.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of, actually, yeah. So, no, I mean, it's something different. Maybe it'll work. Maybe this is more.
I hope shops don't feel the pressure to overorder for the sake of covers. Yeah. I hope they manage anyway.
Although this is a palpable book.
My hope is that this seems more fair to the shops than the 1 to 100 sort of style, where you just get one copy of it for 100 books.
I agree, and let's say if you only want, let's say, cover G, you order your 50 copies, and then you order another 50 copies of cover G. Does that entitle you to the 1 to 100 variant as well?
I think so.
Well, then go for it.
I'll see why you wouldn't.
I'm not a retailer. I don't. Maybe they disagree with this, but that seems reasonable to me as a.
Especially keeping in mind that there's a regular variant as well, which is just the same. You get it as much as you want. So and there's so many people who will buy both regular covers that already covers you for X number of copies. So. Interesting to see how they're doing that. I mean, I've never been someone who's bought multiple. I mean, I've not said I've never bought a comic just for the cover, because I have done that on a rare occasion.
We've all been
it's very rare. I mean, I did get a Ribic Thor that I already owned that I paid a premium for. But it's Ribic and it's fantastic.
Well, I have in the past paid more for a variant, but usually not on top of the regular cover. I don't buy both. I tend to just buy the variant at that point.
Oh no, that one's framed. So and it's signed by Aaron. So that's why I bought it. That's that type. But that's super rare that I've ever done.
Yeah. So cool to see. Obviously, I'm looking forward to that. It's weird because we don't have any of the issues yet. 'Cause it's only 3 issues. So, but I'm looking forward to reading it all the same.
It can't be that far off though. No.
Oh no, obviously, yeah. I think the first issue must be next month then. But
it must be by the process of how Solicits work.
Yes. But we got Dark Knight's Metal issue 4 next. Not really much to say on this itself.
A phenomenal cover. Honestly, one of my favorite covers in all of these Solicits.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking about issue 2 later, but they're playing into some Doomsday Clock stuff a lot more than I would have thought. Yeah. So cool stuff there. A couple of one shots as well. More death metal one shots again. These are 48 pages, $6. We got Dark Knight's Death Metal Rise of the New God issue 1, which is James Tynion IV and Brian Hill, which is cool. Nice pair there with Jesus Marino and Nick Varela on the art. So we have that one. I'll read this solicitation just to upset Matt, because the first sentence is really funny. Batman always wins.
I was just going to say, technically there's a full stop after each word, so that is technically 3 sentences.
True, yes, very true. There's irrevocable truth, thank you. Truth resonates to the very heart of Perpetua's battle to win the Batman who laughs, and when her ally reveals his absolute nature, she will upend his mantra and destroy the last planet, his planet. But that's not enough, and the mother of all creation must wonder, if power lies in destruction, why would she ever stop? But that's the thing about truth. When it turns to fact, this is kind of all fluff, to be honest. There's no disputing the godlike reverence, and so enters the darkest night, featuring a backup story that spins out of the cliffhanger from Dark Knight's Death Metal Multiverse's End issue 1, which is cool because we'll read that too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Multiverse's End was the Tynion one.
Yes.
So I'm assuming Tynion is actually doing the backup, and Brian Hill is doing the quote-unquote main story here. So just a strange ordering on their credits, maybe.
Yeah, and then the other one shot, there's 2 1-shots here this month. Probably the one that's the most conflicting of whether or not we should read it because of the artist, and that is Dark Knight's Death Metal Robin King issue 1, which is written by Pierre J. Tomasi and Tony Patrick. Fine. Art by Riley Rosmo.
I'm skipping it. I'm just saying, 'cause I was like, oh, Robin King, because we knew that was like a thing that they teased on Snyder's board anyway. And I was like, okay.
What's interesting is this solicit, at least on Newsarama, actually misses off some of the details, the page count and the price. I assume it's the same size as the other ones, which is $5, 48 pages.
Yeah.
The thought of a 48-page Riley Rosmo comic.
But there's a backup by Daniel Sampere.
True, yeah, there is.
So,
you're right. So it's not all 48 pages. True.
Yeah, but just... I got, Robin King, Peter Tomasi. I was like, okay, I'm interested. Riley Rosmo or not? Never mind.
Yeah.
He can't keep getting away with it. Cool, you're Breaking Bad gifts. So there you go. And then we have the Justice League issues, which are still Death Metal tie-ins, written by Joshua Williamson.
Amazing Starfire on the cover.
Yeah,
the Mohawk. Yeah, you're right.
That Liam Sharp Starfire, I need it.
Oh, that's it. So Justice League 54 and Justice League 55, respectively, both out in October. So that's cool. Then we have Deceased Dead Planet issue 4. Joe, as much as this is a small list of books, there's a lot of big books in it.
There's a lot of things I'm excited for, which is the most important part.
So Deceased Dead Planet issue 4, Tom Taylor obviously still writing. 4 of 7, that is. So 3 more after that.
He's got a Ryan and a hell of a armbar on that cover.
Hey, did you learn what arm bar is from Chris Jericho? Because he knows his arm bars.
He does.
Yeah.
I had a mighty laugh when he yelled armbar.
Yes. Last God, Songs of the Lost Children, issue 1.
Jeez. If there was ever a book meant for Connor, it's this one.
Well, I mean, this is already an ongoing series, and this is just a one-shot set between issues. Well, I mean, I think it's actually set before the main book, but, coming out.
But yeah, I'm just looking at the cover going, how come Connor's not reading this?
You think I'm not? I've got all the issues sat behind me. It's so good.
Yeah.
So back out to some proper DC stuff. Strange Adventures, issue 6.
With the most horrific Gerard's cover yet.
Yeah.
Horrific. It's beautiful.
Well, when you compare it to the
Shayna one.
To the Shayna cover, and realize it's the aftermath. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we take the premise of that book, which is Shayna is the story and Gerard's is the truth, that's horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Noticeably, there's a third character on the Shayna version and not on the Gerard's one. So then we have Wonder Woman 764 and 765. Mariko Tamaki still writing, of course. We're looking for. I mean, we still started her run, but because of double shipping, this is like the 9th and 10 issues of her run that have been selected. We got so many of them.
I think it's the next issue that starts.
It is, yeah. It's the very next issue. So we'll be reading Wonder Woman starting next issue, which is 759?
59, I think, yeah.
My number of 10 there was hyperbolic, but still, my point stands. So, and then there's actually a one-shot. Again, we'll see if this is relevant in October and if they even release this, if the movie gets pushed, but there's a Wonder Woman 1984 issue 1 one-shot with stories by Anna Obropta, Louise Simonson, Steve Pugh, and then art with Brett Blevins and Margaret Savage. Blevins is a hell of a name. I was not prepared for that. Blevins could be, yeah. So a couple trades, graphic novels and whatnot coming out. Then we have Action Comics 1026. Unfortunately, still John Romita Jr. on the art.
Hey, in your maybe glimmer of hope to give to you guys, the Solicit does say it's the conclusion to the House of Kent saga. So maybe you're moving on to a whole new story with a whole new artist.
Yeah, we could be shifting next issue, Matt.
Personally, I hope not. I hope you're stuck with Romita till the end. But
November Solicits.
You guys can hope.
November Solicits, come on, you're our only hope. Right, that's all I'm saying. Superman 26, also, of course, Ivan Reis and Danny Mickey on the art. Amethyst issue 6 coming out, and then we got Aquaman 64, Kelly Sue, who I don't know if she was back on it the previous month, but she's back on in this one at least, because there was like a 2-issue fill-in somewhere along the way. So yeah,
that is the penultimate issue of that run.
Yeah, which isn't in the Solicit itself, but there was just basically by retweeting something on Twitter, she kind of confirmed that her run is ending with issue 65, which is a shame because we've really been enjoying it. But I mean, when did her run start? It was like issue 50.
Just after the 50s. It'll be 3 or 4 trades by the end.
Yeah, probably 3 trades, I think. So it's been a decent sized run, not a huge one, but not like super short either.
But
So
a good run at least.
yeah, no, it's been good.
Yeah.
I think it must be 4 trades, right? Because we'll have the one on the island at the start, then the one with Lovecraft Monster, then the one we're in now, and then this final arc coming up. So it'll be 4 trades by the end, I think.
It depends if they just if they take out the fill-in, say, then they might just include whatever issues are left, because there's not
That's
much
possible.
Because there's 2 issues that aren't going to be her still to come, and then this is
True.
So there's not that many of her issues left, really, in the grand scheme of things. Then we have Batman Beyond issue 48, still Dan Jurgens. That's the little book that could.
And this is the start of an arc as well, so it's getting at least a couple more.
Yeah, so you're talking about there's cancellations, and this isn't one of them. So if you guys had Batman Beyond, you're
and it has a great Maniple variant with Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Batman's Rave issue 11. I mean, they're letting that finish out despite the accusations against Warren Ellis, I guess. So that's going. Then we have Batman Superman 13. Still Williamson writing that. So cool. Batman The Outsiders issue 17, which is the second of our cancellations here. This is the final issue. Although, Hell on Twitter did say that this was supposed to end at issue 12, and he got 5 extra issues, which is, I guess, kind of nice. I guess we're always hoping for another big, long, juicy run that we can get an omnibus of someday.
I recommend you all follow Hill on Twitter anyway, because he's great on Twitter.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good. I follow him on Twitter.
But if not, he spoke about a week or two ago how he's still technically in season 1 as he was thinking about it. And season 2 would have been focusing on the Duke stuff they were setting up. So fans of Duke, if you're out there, sorry. But he seemed really understanding with this. He wasn't bitter at all. At least he didn't come across that way publicly.
Well, no, because he started...
Much, this is how it works in theater, work for hire stuff.
Yeah, and technically this all started with his Detective Comics run that led to Batman The Outsiders. Yeah. So... who knows? Maybe down the road he'll be able to do that Duke stuff in a miniseries.
Yeah, he did say that he's not necessarily built for doing a monthly comic forever, because he does write on TV and film. He does a lot of other type of writing. So he was never going to have 3 books a month like some of the bigger comic book writers do. Hopefully he comes back though and does some sort of sequel or something. And
like I said, originally it was only going to be 12 issues, but demand called for more. And so 17 issues compared to 12 is undeniably better.
Yeah. Batman Adventures continues issue 5. Obviously that's been going. It's the same with DC Classics Batman Adventures. We got some of the Sandman universe stuff. The Dreaming Waking Hours issue 3.
I think that's the only Sandman universe left, because Lucifer's going to be a trade now.
Sure. First Sector issue 8, which is now bi-monthly, which I keep forgetting. That changed.
That's going to be rough, right?
Yeah. We got the Flash 763 and 764, which is interesting because, of course, these are the first issues post Williamson's run. And the fact that there was no announcement of this new writer, and the fact that I've never heard of this person, does make me convinced it's a fill-in run or arc or whatever.
If him being lesser known isn't necessarily the most damning part, but the fact that there was no announcement,
it's just in the Solicits. Yeah. It's just buried in the Solicits, so it definitely doesn't.
They're not making a big deal to follow up, a very lengthy run by one writer.
Yeah.
I think they'd want to generate.
I can give you his entire comics history very, very briefly. For DC, he wrote a story in an annual for the Batman 80-page Giant and Joker's Asylum to Clayface, and then for Marvel, he's written some Avenging Spider-Man, Superior Carnage, Superior Spider-Man Team Up, and Axis Hobgoblin, and that's it. Which tells me this probably isn't the ongoing writer for Flash.
Nah. More on speculation that in a bit once we get to the end of these Solicits. Green Lantern Season 2 issue 8 is coming out. Then you got your Hawkman that you guys love, issue 28.
On that, in the Solicit, I don't know if Matt's read it or not, but it mentions the end of the reincarnation cycle, and that has me so excited as, okay, we're taking Hawkman to a new place.
And Half-Set's name getting dropped there for the first time in this run. So
yeah, and then there is a second Sandman universe book, Constantine Hellblazer issue 11.
I forgot about that. That had a whole thing about horses in the past issue, which was delightful.
That was a weird statement.
Sure.
Okay. Justice League Dark 27. Still, trucking along.
Who does art on that?
Aman K and Yehilpin.
Oh, you got it.
I mean, I'll give it a go. Actually, the only thing going against you for making me do that is that I've had to read that name before, so I've at least, even if I'm completely wrong, I've got a thing that I go to now. So
I scrolled down to it and went, gotta make Pete say it.
Yeah. And then the next book is Justice League Odyssey issue 25, which is the other one that's finally been cancelled. To be honest, this getting to 25 issues blows my mind. I thought this was going to be done at like 12. So
we've been saying ever since like issue 12, like still not the final issue.
I know.
But you know what? You know what this means? With this ending, it's looking like Starfire's coming back through Metal.
Starfire's in the Justice League book for Metal, so
Yep. So we might start getting these characters back
elsewhere.
Whatever goes forward.
I want more Jess.
You know, Jessica Cruz, Starfire, Cyborg, who I've grown more fond of watching Doom Patrol, which is weird.
It's great.
It's weird how however many episodes I've watched has made me care about that character more than most comics of his I've read. So
yeah.
Yeah,
Justice League 2020. All right. I made sure to do a joke from season 1 that Matt would get because yeah, didn't want to spoil anything. As much as I really want to talk about a team up 70s thing.
Are you talking about I can guess from Twitter.
Well, I'm more considerate than Twitter. All right.
Yes.
To be fair,
it's not all over the place.
So
yeah.
It's 2 last names, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that doesn't spoil anything.
Yeah, no, that's true. So just before I get to the speculation, because this is obviously the third cancelled book, just mention just all because there's a couple of books left. Legion of Superheroes issue 10, still Bendis as you do. They've got Mad Magazine in here for some reason at this part of the solicits. Metal Men issue 11, that's almost done. 1 issue left after that. Red Hood Outlaw issue 50, the big finale to Scott Lobdell.
On that, what's annoyingly interesting is one. Okay, it's an oversized book for issue 50. That's not a surprise, but it's not final issue. But we know it's Scott Lobdell's this last issue, so there's presumably a new team coming on.
Meaning that David could just keep making you read Red Hood regardless of who's writing it.
But Tom Taylor could join at 51, and I'll be happy about
It's
that.
not happening. Get out of your head. No.
That said, it is saying it's calling the end of the Outlaw era, so if it relaunched as something else, I wouldn't be
who knows?
surprised.
Yeah, it could be like just Tales of the Red Hood issue 51 or something like that. I mean, because it's not the first time they've renamed it. They kept the number.
They're in the middle of this run, so.
Yeah. And then for some reason Scooby-Doo is before Suicide Squad. Okay, Suicide Squad
this
10.
Is where it feels alphabetical.
Yeah, it's kind of alphabetical now, bizarrely. Teen Titans 46 coming out. Obviously, we're excited about Suicide Squad. I don't want you to gloss over that. Just the next issue. There's nothing to say, really.
I know.
And then Young Justice issue 19, which wraps up the last of the regular issues. So, as far as speculation goes, I do think it's notable that we've got 3 books ending in October. The Flash is clearly in a holding pattern. It does kind of feel that there's going to be some kind of soft relaunch of sorts following
I kind of want to
Metal.
Talk about this more at the end of the Metal issue.
That's fair. Yeah, we can table this and come back at the end of that book. But I just want to say that even just in the solicits itself and just looking at the books that are, because it is getting a shorter list. Like November, unless they're launching some books to replace things, is going to be a significantly shorter list. So I feel like January, February, when we get to that post Metal part of the calendar, we're going to.
Metal's scheduled to end in January, right? Will be the last issue.
Yeah, so I could see there being a couple of books in January to maybe the week after Metal
Could be
ends.
late January and then into February. Yeah, makes sense.
I could see that. As far as trades and stuff, they're doing an omnibus of Tynion's detective run called The Rise and Fall of the Batman, but the entire run, which is pretty nifty. If I still bought omnibuses, I would totally be in for that.
Yep.
So
that's kind of really the only notable thing that really stuck out to me in the trade section.
What are you talking about? They got Flash Year 1.
Matt's such a kid there. Let him go.
Also, I don't know if this is because DC switched their shipping and who they're working with, but they're gonna have a 3 Jokers hardcover the next month. As soon as that's finished. So that's on sale November 10th.
I think
that's pretty quick for them. Yeah,
they're expecting they're expecting that to sell.
Yeah.
And sell for a long time, I suspect.
I mean, if we're gonna get quicker trade turnarounds, that's always one thing that I appreciate about Marvel and their system is they would get the trades out there really, really quick. So if they're gonna start doing that, that's pretty cool. There's also a Deadman omnibus coming out, which seems like they're collecting all those older.
And if
stuff.
you want the really mediocre New 52 Nightwing run, that's got an omnibus, so knock yourself out.
No.
You don't want it? I agree, Matt. I don't want it either.
No. You're talking about it's mediocre.
What's annoying is there is a really good section of that run, but not all of it is really good. So I can't recommend an omnibus of the entire thing necessarily.
Yeah, not the entire thing. But I will stand up for the Higgins stuff and then the Grayson stuff.
Yeah, me too.
So those are the two parts I really, really enjoy.
There's already been a Grayson omnibus. That's already a thing. So cool. So that's basically Solicits. Unless anyone wants to add anything. Is there any other news, Cora, that you might have stumbled into that you want to mention?
Not really. No.
Yeah. I didn't really find anything else either. There wasn't also kind of in the news or in the Solicits. Yeah. So. All right, cool. There you go. That is October Solicitations.